What if the clues to lost civilizations weren't buried in myths, but carved in stone, hidden beneath ruins, or scattered across remote deserts? In this episode, we explore 10 archaeological enigmas, from spiral steps beneath the sea to headless statues on sacred hills, that continue to defy explanation and rewrite what we thought we knew about our ancient past. Welcome to Epoch Ancient Mysteries. The Phaistos Disc. In the summer of 1908, within the ruins of the ancient Minoan palace at Phaistos on the island of Crete, Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier unearthed a clay disc buried in a basement room. Roughly 6 inches in diameter and covered with an array of mysterious symbols spiraling inward on both sides, the Phaistos Disc instantly became one of the most baffling artifacts ever found in the Aegean world. Unlike other inscriptions from the same period, which were typically carved or painted, the symbols on the Phaistos Disc were pressed into the clay using individual stamps, making it the earliest known example of movable type. There are 241 impressions made up of 45 unique signs, human figures, birds, tools, and abstract symbols. The sequence runs in a spiral, an unusual layout for any known writing system, ancient or modern. The disc is dated to the Middle or Late Minoan Bronze Age, around 1700 BC. Yet despite over a century of study, no one has been able to decipher the script with any certainty. It doesn't match linear A or B, the two known writing systems of the Minoan and Mycenaean civilizations, and it appears nowhere else in the archaeological record. No related texts, no translations, and no Rosetta Stone equivalent has been found. Dozens of theories have emerged. Some scholars argue the disc represents a syllabary, a phonetic writing system similar to linear B, but the lack of recurring patterns makes this difficult to confirm. Others believe it could be a religious hymn, a calendar, a magical incantation, or even a game board. Some have even suggested it was never intended to be read but used symbolically or ritually. Complicating matters further, the disc was a lone find. No other artifact with the same type of stamped writing has ever been uncovered in Crete or anywhere else. If it was truly an early printing experiment, why was it not adopted more widely? If it belonged to a visiting culture, where is the rest of their material record? Skeptics have also questioned its authenticity, though most experts today accept it as genuine based on the context of the excavation. Still, the lack of parallel examples leaves the disc in academic limbo, a beautiful anomaly without a clear origin, purpose, or linguistic home. Over 100 years since its discovery, the Phaistos Disc remains an enigma. Until a breakthrough emerges, it stands as a silent puzzle from a civilization that left behind so few answers. The Cockno Stone. In 1887, on a gentle hillside near the town of Clydebank in West Dunbartonshire, Scotland, Reverend James Harvey uncovered a vast, flat sandstone slab covered in an intricate tapestry of symbols. Measuring nearly 43 feet long and 26 feet wide, the Cockno Stone is one of the most extraordinary examples of prehistoric rock art in Europe. What makes it truly remarkable are the carvings, more than 90 spirals, cups, rings, radial lines, and geometric shapes etched into its surface with unknown intent. The artwork is attributed to the Neolithic or Early Bronze Age, roughly 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. Similar motifs, known as cup and ring marks, have been found throughout the British Isles and parts of Europe, but few examples are as elaborate or concentrated as those on the Cockno Stone. Some patterns appear random. Others seem deliberately arranged, suggesting a larger design or map, though of what remains uncertain. For decades after its discovery, the stone was exposed to the elements and to the public. Unfortunately, both time and human activity took a toll. By the mid-20th century, the surface had become weathered and heavily vandalized with modern graffiti. In 1965, authorities made a controversial decision. They buried the entire stone under several feet of soil to protect it from further damage. It remained hidden for over 50 years, largely forgotten except by archaeologists and a few local historians. Then, in 2015, a team led by Glasgow University archaeologist Kenny Brophy began a temporary re-excavation. What they uncovered reignited global interest. Using modern imaging techniques, the team captured high-resolution scans and 3D models of the carvings, preserving them digitally before the stone was reburied once again for protection. Despite this renewed attention, the purpose and meaning of the Cockno Stone remain elusive. Some researchers believe the markings had ritual significance, perhaps aligned with celestial events, burial practices, or territorial markers. Others suggest the stone was a gathering place, its carvings serving as a kind of communal storytelling or spiritual expression. Fringe theorists have proposed astronomical charts, alien maps, or remnants of a forgotten civilization, though these claims lack evidence. What complicates interpretation is the total absence of written records or contextual artifacts. The people who created the Kokno stone left no explanations behind, only abstract symbols carved in stone that resist easy translation. Even within the broader category of prehistoric art, the density and scale of the Kokno stone's carvings are unmatched. Today, the Kokno stone rests beneath layers of soil once more, preserved but inaccessible. It remains one of Britain's most enigmatic ancient relics. Until further discoveries provide a key, its message is still buried, both literally and figuratively. The Temple of Jupiter, Bulb. In the Bekaa Valley of modern-day Lebanon rises a complex of ancient ruins so massive and mysterious that they continue to puzzle archaeologists and engineers alike. At its heart stands the Temple of Jupiter, once the largest temple of the Roman Empire. Yet what truly confounds researchers isn't just the temple's size or grandeur, it's what lies beneath it. The temple complex at Baalbek, known in Roman times as Heliopolis, was built over multiple phases, with its final Roman construction likely beginning under Emperor Augustus in the 1st century BC. The Temple of Jupiter was intended to honor the king of the gods, with 54 giant columns, each 62 feet tall, supporting its roof. Only 6 columns still stand today, but even in partial ruin, their sheer scale dwarfs anything else from the Roman world. But the true mystery lies in the foundation, specifically in the enormous stone blocks used as the platform's base. The most famous are the so-called trilithon stones, 3 rectangular megaliths, each weighing an estimated 800 to 1,000 tons. These are among the largest stones ever used in construction. Even more astonishingly, nearby in the quarry sits a partially cut monolith weighing over 1,000 tons, and in 2014, a second, even larger stone was discovered beneath it, estimated at over 1,600 tons. No one knows exactly how these massive stones were transported and positioned with such precision. The quarry is located uphill and about 800 meters from the temple site. There is no evidence of cranes or pulleys capable of moving such weight in the ancient world, and the idea of dragging them over land with ropes and manpower has raised serious doubts. Some scholars propose the blocks were never actually moved, that they were part of an earlier structure, perhaps pre-Roman, and that the Romans built atop them. This theory raises further questions. Who placed the stones in the first place, and for what purpose? The site's construction spans several civilizations, Phoenician, Hellenistic, Roman, and Islamic, but none offer a clear explanation for the origin or purpose of the trilithon. While ancient texts refer to Heliopolis as a center of sun worship, they do not describe the engineering feats behind the platform or its megaliths. Mainstream theories suggest a combination of skilled labor, ramps, and ingenuity, though no reconstruction has yet convincingly demonstrated how such stones could be moved without breaking. Alternative ideas point to lost technologies, forgotten civilizations, or even non-human intervention, though none of these are supported by evidence. Today, the Temple of Jupiter and its foundation remain an architectural riddle. The ruins stand as silent witnesses to an engineering achievement that modern science still struggles to fully explain. Atacama Giant. Etched into the dry, rocky slope of Cerro Unitas in northern Chile, the Atacama Giant is the largest known prehistoric anthropomorphic geoglyph in the world. Measuring approximately 119 meters, 390 feet, in height, this towering figure looms over the barren Atacama Desert, its strange proportions and geometric design raising more questions than answers. The geoglyph, created by scraping away the dark surface stones to reveal lighter earth beneath, is thought to have been constructed sometime between 1000 and 1400 CE. It is one of thousands of geoglyphs scattered across the desert, but its sheer scale and distinct humanoid form make it uniquely enigmatic. What stands out most is the figure's design. It has a rectangular head, extended limbs, and what appears to be a headdress or radiating lines emanating from the top of its head. Some interpret these as ceremonial adornments or symbols of power, while others see them as something more abstract, or even otherworldly. Mainstream archaeologists believe the Atacama Giant may have been a representation of a deity or a shamanic figure, possibly related to Tiwanaku or local Andean spiritual beliefs. One theory suggests it functioned as an astronomical marker. The lines around the figure's head may have aligned with lunar cycles or solstices, serving as a primitive calendar for agriculture or ritual events. Yet the lack of written records or cultural context leaves its purpose uncertain. Unlike the Nazca lines of Peru, which often depict animals and abstract forms, the Atacama Giant's singular human-like appearance gives it an unsettling presence, as if it was meant to be seen not just from the ground, but from the sky. This has led to speculation outside the academic mainstream. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the figure's form and placement suggest it was created to be viewed by aerial visitors, not humans on foot. They point to the figure's antenna-like head and stylized shape as evidence of contact with beings from above. Despite these claims, no definitive proof supports such theories. There are no associated settlements, tools, or inscriptions near the geoglyph that could explain who made it or why. The extreme dryness of the Atacama has preserved it remarkably well, but preservation is not explanation. Today, the Atacama Giant watches silently over a desolate landscape, its creators long vanished and its message, if there ever was one, still undeciphered. Ain Ghazal statues. In the dusty hills near present-day Amman, Jordan, archaeologists unearthed something unexpected beneath a Neolithic settlement, a cache of human statues, nearly 10,000 years old. These are the Ain Ghazal statues, some of the oldest known large-scale human figures ever discovered, dating back to around 6750 BC. Made of lime plaster over a reed core, these statues stand at about 1 meter tall and depict men, women, and children in simple, upright poses. Some are two-headed, others feature wide, staring eyes outlined with bitumen, giving them an unsettling, watchful gaze. Though their bodies are rendered with minimal detail, the faces are hauntingly expressive, suggesting a deep symbolic or ritualistic purpose. The statues were not found in homes or public places, but carefully buried in pits, sometimes in groups, sometimes alone. Their deliberate placement and pristine condition suggest that they were not everyday items but likely held spiritual or ceremonial significance. Perhaps they were ancestral effigies, religious offerings, or representations of deities now forgotten. Yet despite decades of research, no clear consensus exists about their meaning. The people who created them left behind no writing, and their symbolic language remains indecipherable. What prompted these early farmers to invest such effort into life-sized human likenesses? Were they intended to watch over the living or to accompany the dead? Some scholars have noted similarities between these statues and other prehistoric figurines across the Near East, but nothing matches their scale, number, or construction technique. The two-headed examples in particular defy simple explanation. Some interpret them as symbols of duality, others as mythological beings. With more than 30 statues uncovered across several excavation seasons, Ain Ghazal has become one of the most important Neolithic sites in the region. Yet the statues remain its most enigmatic feature, human in form, but alien in their stillness and intent. Despite careful excavation and analysis, the true purpose behind the Ain Ghazal statues remains buried with the people who made them. Göbekli Tepe vultures and headless bodies. In the dusty plains of southeastern Turkey, an ancient hill concealed one of the most mysterious archaeological sites ever unearthed. Göbekli Tepe, dating back over 11,000 years, predates Stonehenge and the pyramids by millennia. It's not just its age that stuns archaeologists, but the complexity. Massive T-shaped pillars arranged in circular enclosures, each weighing up to 20 tons, many intricately carved with animals, foxes, snakes, boars, and birds of prey. But among the carvings, one image stands out, a vulture beside a headless human body. Known as the Vulture Stone, or Pillar 43, the depiction shows several birds, including vultures, hovering above dismembered human limbs and a headless corpse. It's not a random assortment of animals, it's a tableau. Some researchers believe it represents a ritual or symbolic cosmology. In the Near East, ancient cultures practiced excarnation, leaving the dead exposed so vultures could strip the flesh before burial. Was this an early form of sky burial? Or something more sinister? Other interpretations link the image to astronomy. Some believe the animal symbols on the pillars align with constellations, and the vulture represents a celestial figure. The severed heads? Perhaps tied to the soul's journey after death, or a long-lost myth of resurrection. What complicates the mystery is the presence of actual human skull fragments found near the site, some with carvings or signs of modification. Were they trophies, relics, or part of ceremonial rites? Göbekli Tepe wasn't a settlement. There were no homes, no signs of daily life. It was a place of gathering, worship, or ritual, but by who? Built by pre-pottery Neolithic people with no metal tools or wheels, the construction would have required hundreds of workers. The site was mysteriously buried around 8000 BC, on purpose. Not abandoned, but entombed, sealed beneath tons of earth as if its builders wanted it forgotten. The vulture and headless body carvings remain among the most chilling motifs, haunting remnants of a belief system we can't fully reconstruct. Was it death worship, ancestor veneration, or cosmic storytelling? We don't know. And until we do, Göbekli Tepe will continue to whisper from the deep past, its vultures circling above the unknown. Sahama mummies. High in the Andes of Bolivia, where icy winds sweep across desolate altiplanos and volcanoes pierce the clouds, archaeologists made a chilling discovery near the Sahama volcano, mummies perfectly preserved in the unforgiving cold. These are not Egyptian-style burials sealed in ornate tombs. The Sahama mummies were found seated in stone funerary towers called chulpas, some dating back over 1,000 years. What makes them mysterious is not just their preservation, but the conditions. Despite being exposed to the elements, many retain skin, hair, and clothing, their bodies seemingly frozen in time. Some were wrapped in woven garments, seated in fetal positions, their faces solemn, eyes sunken yet eerily intact. Who are these people? And why were they buried this way, in isolation, often on high cliffs or volcano slopes? The mummies are attributed to pre-Incan cultures, possibly the Aymara or even older civilizations. But the identity of the individuals, and the purpose behind the high-altitude burials, remains speculative. Some believe they were shamans, nobility, or human sacrifices offered to mountain deities known as Apis. Others suggest the sites were chosen to bring the dead closer to the heavens, allowing their spirits easier passage to the afterlife. Adding to the mystery are the skulls. Some show signs of deliberate cranial deformation. The elongated heads may have been a symbol of status or spirituality. But there's more. In some cases, chemical analysis has revealed the presence of toxic plants, perhaps ingested as part of ritual death or preservation. Were these voluntary sacrifices, punishments, or ceremonial rites of passage? Unlike Egyptian mummies, whose processes are well documented, the methods used here remain unclear. No embalming fluids, no internal organ removal. Just cold, altitude, and ritual. And yet the results are astonishing. Bodies that have resisted decay for centuries, silently watching from the mountaintops. Despite studies, the Sama mummies hold onto their secrets. Who they were, how they died, and why they were placed in such remote, sacred spaces, questions still without answers. Until we uncover more, their still faces will remain frozen between life and myth, guardians of a mystery wrapped in ice. Oi ChatGPT. Yonaguni submarine spiral steps. Beneath the waves off the southern coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island lies a massive underwater formation that has baffled divers and archaeologists alike for decades. Known as the Yonaguni Monument, one of its most intriguing features is a set of spiral-like steps carved into the submerged stone, an architectural element that seems both deliberate and out of place. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver, the site is a sprawling complex of terraces, ledges, platforms, and angular structures. But it's the stepped spirals, descending in tight, geometric patterns, that have sparked the most debate. At first glance, they resemble ceremonial platforms or even ziggurats, as if remnants of a lost civilization were hiding beneath the sea. Some researchers argue that the spiral steps are natural formations, products of tectonic activity, erosion, and the layered nature of sedimentary rock. The area is geologically active, and such formations can occur naturally under the right conditions. However, others believe the uniformity, sharp edges, and apparent layout of the spirals suggest human modification. The monument also includes what some claim to be roads, a throne-like chair, and inscriptions, though these interpretations remain contested. One theory posits that the site was a megalithic complex built thousands of years ago, possibly by a prehistoric culture long before Japan's written history. Proponents link it to the mythical lost continent of Mu, an ancient Pacific civilization said to have vanished beneath the ocean. Critics dismiss this, citing lack of artifacts, carbon dating, or definitive tool marks. Complicating matters is the structure's depth, between 5 to 25 meters underwater. If the spiral steps were man-made, they would date back to a time when sea levels were significantly lower, potentially more than 10,000 years ago, far earlier than any known advanced culture in the region. Despite numerous dives, surveys, and debates, no consensus has emerged. The spiral steps remain an enigmatic feature, too geometric for simple erosion, too undocumented for confirmed architecture. Until conclusive evidence surfaces, the Yonaguni spiral steps will continue to spiral into mystery, carved in stone and hidden by the sea. Giants of Monte Prima. In the windswept plains of Sardinia, Italy, an extraordinary discovery lay buried for millennia, stone giants that would reshape our understanding of ancient Mediterranean civilizations. Unearthed near the village of Cabris in 1974, the Giants of Monte Prima are a collection of over 40 massive stone statues, some standing more than 2 meters tall, depicting archers, boxers, and warriors in stunning detail. Carved between the 9th and 8th centuries BCE, these statues are attributed to the Nuragic civilization, an enigmatic culture that flourished in Sardinia long before the rise of Rome. The giants' geometric faces, stylized circular eyes, and intricately rendered armor give them a surreal, almost futuristic appearance, unlike anything else from the same era. What makes these stone figures so mysterious is not only their size and artistry but also their purpose. They were discovered shattered and buried near tombs, suggesting they once stood as guardians of the dead. Yet their exact function remains uncertain. Were they commemorations of real individuals? Mythical heroes? Symbols of power? There are no inscriptions to offer clarity, and the Nuragic people left behind no written language. Adding to the mystery is the fact that similar statues have not been found anywhere else in the ancient Mediterranean. While Greece and Egypt had monumental sculptures, the Giants of Monte Prima are unique in both form and context, suggesting that the Nuragic civilization possessed a level of sophistication long underestimated by historians. Some researchers believe the statues were deliberately broken and buried, possibly during a conflict or cultural upheaval. Others propose that the destruction occurred gradually over time due to erosion or natural disasters. Either way, the careful reassembly of these figures in modern times has only deepened the questions about who created them and why. Until more is uncovered about the Nuragic world, the Giants of Monte Prima will continue to stand as silent sentinels from a forgotten age, bold, enduring, and profoundly unexplained. Lost Labyrinth of Egypt. Beneath the sands of Egypt, near the ancient city of Hawara, whispers persist of a monumental structure lost to time, a labyrinth so vast and complex that even Herodotus, the famed Greek historian, declared it surpassed the pyramids in grandeur. Known today as the Lost Labyrinth of Egypt, this mysterious complex is said to have once existed just south of the Pyramid of Amenemhat III, in the Fayum region, and it has eluded rediscovery for over 2 millennia. According to ancient accounts, including those of Herodotus, Strabo, and Pliny the Elder, the labyrinth was a massive, multi-leveled structure filled with thousands of rooms, corridors, and courtyards. Herodotus described its sheer scale and intricacy in awe, claiming he had visited the site himself. He wrote of 12 covered courts and an upper and lower level, with the lower said to house tombs of kings and sacred crocodiles. The complex, he noted, was constructed with such precision that no visitor could navigate it without a guide. Despite these vivid descriptions, no confirmed trace of the labyrinth has been found in modern times. Archaeologists in the 19th and early 20th centuries explored the region, including the famed British archaeologist Flinders Petrie, who uncovered parts of a large platform of stone blocks, possibly the labyrinth's foundation. Yet the full structure remains buried or destroyed, if it ever existed at all. What fuels the mystery further is a modern survey conducted in 2008 by the Mataha expedition, which used ground-penetrating radar around the Hawara pyramid. Their results revealed massive underground anomalies beneath the surface, structures that do not match the known tomb architecture. However, the findings were never fully published or peer-reviewed, and access to the area has since been restricted, leading to accusations of suppression and a veil of secrecy surrounding the site. Some speculate that the labyrinth was deliberately dismantled in antiquity and its stones repurposed. Others believe it lies intact beneath layers of Nile silt and modern debris, waiting to be unearthed. There are even fringe theories that suggest the labyrinth held hidden knowledge, perhaps records from a forgotten civilization, sealed off by ancient priesthoods. With little physical evidence and the accounts of ancient historians as our primary guides, the Lost Labyrinth of Egypt remains an enigma, an architectural marvel said to dwarf even the pyramids, yet invisible to modern eyes. Until the ground beneath Hawara is fully revealed, this colossal riddle will continue to confound archaeologists and feed the imaginations of all who seek the secrets of ancient Egypt.